Thank you for having me. As mentioned, my name is Christiana Papadopoulos, and I'm the Investor Relations Manager at Sierra Metals. Sierra Metals is a growing and profitable base and precious metals producer. We are listed on the TSX with stock ticker SMT, as well as the New York Stock Exchange American with stock ticker SMTS. This next page is our forward-looking statement as we seek safe harbor. Before we begin, a very quick COVID update. Like many of our peers in the second quarter, we had a reduced workforce and shutdowns at all of our operations. In early June, we recalled employees in Peru, as well as our Bolivar mine in Mexico. And Cusi remained closed until July 27th due to its close proximity to a local community. But now all three mines are up and running and they're in production and we're ramping up. So we expect to meet our targeted throughput by the end of the year. We do continue to have strict screening protocols for all of our employees to protect them as well as our local community. Sierra has 3 operating and producing mines in 2 countries. The first being our Yauricocha Mine, the flagship asset based in Peru. There we produce copper, zinc, lead, silver, and gold. Our Bolivar mine in Mexico is primarily copper producing with some silver and gold, as well as the Cusi mine, also located in Mexico, producing primarily silver. You can see on the right-hand side there, our revenue pie chart with copper in the lead at 39% at the end of our second quarter. We anticipate that with a strong Q3 and Q4 and ramp up in production, that we'll see that copper portion of the revenue pie chart grow. Why invest in Sierra? We're a diversified producer with strong copper and precious metals exposure. We have a solid balance sheet with 41 million in the bank. We are profitable and cash flow positive, and we expect that to grow as we finish the year. We have a successful history of building our mineral resources and reserves, and we operate in well-established mining jurisdictions. Both Peru and Mexico are mining supportive countries. And lastly, we have an experienced management team and board that are focused on maximizing per share value. Looking at our capital structure, we have 162.8 million shares outstanding. At the end of the second quarter, we have $40.7 million in cash on hand, along with $99.5 million in debt. We have research coverage from H.C. Wainwright, Noble, Jefferies, and CIBC. Our ownership is 59% owned by management and the board of directors, which includes Arias Resource Capital, which is also run by our chairman, Alberto Arias. They own 52%. BlackRock at 7.7%, and we also have some other family offices and large shareholders. Looking at our price performance over the past 52 weeks, you can see the decline there over the early months of COVID, but as we ramp up production, we're seeing more activity on the share front. This next slide breaks up our 3 properties, starting with the Yauricocha Mine in Peru, where we own 82%. It is in production. It's an underground mine currently at 3,150 tons per day, with the goal of reaching 3,600 tons per day once our permitting process is complete, and we hope to have that in 2021. The Bolivar mine in Mexico is 100% owned. It is in production and is underground. There we're targeting 5,000 tons per day by year end. Our Cusi mine, also 100% owned in Mexico, is in production while still being developed. There, our goal is to hit 1,200 tons per day by year end. And you can see there our cash costs and all-in sustaining costs are listed for each property. All of those are expected to decline over the next couple of quarters as we ramp up production. Part of our growth strategy is through our staged production increases. You can see over the years the bar graphs representing each of our mines, with blue being Yauricocha, green being Bolivar, and the gray as Cusi. We expect to end this year with a consolidated throughput of 9,350 tons per day. Next year will be closer to 10,000 tons per day once we reach 3,600 tons per day at Yauricocha. And then beyond that, we're looking at expansion studies to look at further production increases. Expansion would not be possible without the growth of our resources. You can see each mine here represented by each graph. The Yauricocha mine, we've been able to maintain our resource level even at higher throughput levels. And we have lots of opportunity there for further brownfield and greenfield exploration. So that will keep a steady flow of increasing our resources there. The Bolivar mine, we've also had substantial increases, and the Cusi mine as well. At Cusi, we expect a reserve update, or sorry, we expect to have some reserves are expected with the next 43-101 update. Excuse me. This next slide looks at our costs versus our realized prices. Again, each mine is represented by the graphs here with the all-in sustaining costs and the cash costs for each mine. The yellow line representing the realized selling price along with the spot prices based on September 11th. So Bolivar and Yauricocha are profitable at current prices. And Cusi, having been in development, has some higher costs. But now as we ramp up to 1,200 tons per day, again, we expect that cost level to go down over the next 2 quarters and for that mine to be profitable and cash flow positive, especially as we've seen the silver prices maintain a steady level. This next slide looks at our consolidated production versus our guidance. This year, we are guiding at between 110 and 122 million copper equivalent pounds. At the end of Q2, we reported 54 million copper equivalent pounds. With the full ramp up in Q3 and Q4, we expect to fully meet our guidance for the year. Our financial position breakdown here on this slide. You can see our outstanding share count hasn't changed a lot over the years. We've had no issuance since 2011. Any small variances would be from some small share buying back, as well as RSUs that have been issued for management compensation. Our revenue at the 6-month mark is 97.5 million. Our net loss at 1.7 million. Adjusted EBITDA at 28.7 million. Cash generated from operating activities at just under 15 million, as well as CapEx at about 15 million. Now, we had guided for, we had to scale back our CapEx due to COVID this year, but we do have some required work that will need to take place that will probably bulk into, carry forward into next year. So our free cash flow here at 219,000. So we're finished our initial expansions, we're ramping up our mines, and we expect to see higher revenue and higher EBITDA over the next couple of quarters, especially with higher metals prices, more favorable metals prices than the beginning of the year. This is our Yauricocha mine in a fairly desolate area up in the Andes at 15,000 feet elevation. We have a very large land package here at 18,000 hectares. Again, I mentioned that we're 82% owners there. We purchased the mine in 2011, but it's a very old mine, having been in operation for the last 70 years for various owners. We have a current mine life of about 7.5 years at Yauricocha, but taking all resources into consideration, we're looking at about a 20+ year mine life. The mill capacity, again, is at 3,150. And we're aiming for a permit to increase that to 3,600 tons per day in 2021. You can see here the central mine that is located. That's where the majority of the mining has taken place. And in the short time, or in history, historically, in the short time that we've owned the mine, we've added these other ore bodies into the mine life, all within very close proximity to the mining operations. This next slide is a long section of our Yauricocha mine. It highlights some of our completed projects as well as some exciting and upcoming developments. Most notably, the tunnel that we completed last year at the 720 level, it connects the mine fully at 720 meters below surface, which reduces hoisting times for the ores. They're put on a trolley and trained right out the side of the mountain, right to the processing plant. In addition, we're working on connecting the mine at the 1070 level. And further developments, this horizontal growth potential area is where we're focused our drilling right now. And we expect that to provide further significant discoveries that can be brought into the mine plan very easily. In addition, we know that the ore bodies all merge at depth. So we continue to drill and explore at depth, looking at porphyry potential, which we are again continuing to explore. So Yauricocha is, again, a very large property. We have traditionally only mined on the Yauricocha fault, but recent geophysical studies showed us that the Chanta fault nearby has very similar and same mineralization as the Yauricocha fault. So it just goes to show that we have a lot of opportunities there. We're focusing on drilling out the Kilkasca area so that we can begin exploring in that area, and a lot of exciting potential there given the history of the Yauricocha fault. If we can replicate that on the Chanta fault, there's a lot of opportunity there. The Bolivar mine, which is located in the state of Chihuahua. This is obviously a very different topography than that of the Yauricocha. You can see here it's very green. It's on the copper belt of Mexico. We have another very large land package here at 15,000 hectares. And again, it's our copper mine. We're currently aiming to hit 5,000 tons per day there, but looking at studies to expand that further. The current reserve life is about 4.5 years, and with full resources, probably closer to 15 or 16-year mine life. It's a very shallow mine. We essentially ramp right in through the side of the mountain and ramp down to the ore bodies. So it's relatively cheaper to mine than Yauricocha. This is the layout of the mine here, with 60% of our mill feed coming from that Mina de Fierro mine, and the other 40% from Bolivar West, where we have higher copper equivalent grades, as well as improved gold and silver grades, which is adding to our bottom line here, given the excellent prices of gold and silver in recent months. We continue to drill out the Bolivar West extension and to develop Bolivar Northwest and Cieneguita, and we have future plans to build a 3-kilometer ramp underground connecting all the ore bodies, which will create more efficiencies. A lot of potential though, as we explore further geophysical anomalies that have been discovered further north. So Bolivar is a very exciting mine for us as well. Here, looking at our overall 90,000 hectares of mining concessions in Mexico, we're only really operating on about 10% of the land package. So a lot of greenfield opportunity. There's Cusi there in the green, as well as the Bolivar mine, with drilling taking place in the future, further drilling taking place in the future at Reina and Batopilas. And finally, the Cusi mine, which is also located in the state of Chihuahua in Mexico. Again, a very different topography. It's very agricultural here, but a very large land package once again with 11,700 hectares, primarily silver with some gold there, coming at 1,200 tons per day in 2020. As I mentioned, Cusi remained in care and maintenance during Q2 due to its close proximity to a local community, but it did resume operations in July and Q3, and we expect that mine to have lower expenses in the next couple of quarters. And other developments, we hope to have an increase in growth and resources with the next 43-101 update. This is a longitudinal section of the Cusi mine, where most of the mining activity takes place. This is the Santa Rosa de Lima zone, which began as a 1 kilometer test area in 2017. They drilled out 29,500 meters with providing an average in situ grade of 372 grams per ton of silver equivalent with widths of up to 4 meters. Since then, we have developed it to 1.7 kilometers, and we continue to develop it. This zone sits on the Cusi Fault, which lies on our property for 12 kilometers. So there's a lot of further potential here. But even more exciting is our new high-grade silver discovery at Cusi. It's situated northeast of the zone where we currently operate, and an area that we previously thought to be entirely void of mineralization. We now understand it to be a highly mineralized vein system extending over 300 meters in length and very close proximity to our existing operations. Drilling includes true widths of up to 17.45 meters at 428 grams per ton of silver. The company has plans to drill an additional 1,000 meters to better understand the extension of the zone at depth as well as to the northeast. So lots of further potential here and an exciting development for Cusi given the low capex that it will cost in order to bring it into the current mine plan. So why invest in Sierra? We are 3 assets representing 5 metals, which provides a little bit of a natural hedge on fluctuating metals prices. We have a strong growth story with lower risk near mine brownfield exploration potential. We operate in well-established mining jurisdictions, both Peru and Mexico being mining-friendly jurisdictions. We have an experienced management team and a board that's focused on per share value. As well, we have a solid financial position with enough cash to continue to support our growth. Our robust track record helps us as well. We have improved our production, we continue to increase our resources, and we have a great safety record. And that's really it. That concludes my presentation today.
Thank you, Christiana. So let's squeeze in a couple of questions before we leave here. The first one coming from Gabe. He said, you recently have changed new CEO. Is there any new direction under the new CEO of the road?
Really, he's haven't had the opportunity to become as familiar with our properties as he would have liked to have been given COVID. So he spent the last few months getting as close to the property information and just gathering a lot. So at this point, we don't have really a change in direction. We had a lot of success with our projects and our growth projects at each mine with our previous CEO. So we're taking it from there really. And, you know, with our upcoming studies to look at further expansions, I think that will provide some guidance on where we go from here.
Sure. One last question from LA here. Are there any issues in mining in Peru with the COVID going on, the cases? How's that so far?
Well, we have a very strict screening process where we bring the employees to the site. They go into full quarantine, and then before they go into the active workforce, they're screened yet again or tested yet again. So it's just a slow process really, and it's slightly a reduced workforce because of the process of getting them underground to work. We have stopped a few cases from spreading with this very strict protocol. So we're happy about that. But you know, Peru really has become very bureaucratic with their permitting process. So if anything, the COVID situation has probably slowed that down even further. So we hope to be able to gain our permits in a timely manner by next year in order to expand our production. But I think we're all in the same boat, all Peruvian operators.
Great to know. So thank you, Christiana. I think Sierra Metals will be a good opportunity right now in this window. So thank you for your time here to share your story and an update with us.
Thank you so much. Take care.